Hey, thanks for watching today. This is going to be a packed video covering news across 19 markets. This is the first time we've covered 19 states. And we have some over-the-counter news in a few of these markets, as well as new properties, new auctions, and just the seasons that you're investing in across these different states. So if you want to skip ahead or skip over a state, just check out the chapters at the bottom of this video on YouTube, and there's shortcuts to help you jump ahead. So we'll get moving with the market totals, and since our last news video, we've added 26,913 properties across various tax liens, deeds, and foreclosures. 12,196 of those were tax liens, and you'll notice almost as many tax deeds were added with 12,163. It was very close this time. 898 foreclosures and 1,656 in land banks. If you break that down by state, those 898 foreclosures, the majority of them are in Florida, and then a few in Colorado and Indiana, about a third of them or so, or a quarter. Over-the-counter ads, though, you had 8,731 liens added in Arizona, mainly because their auctions wrapped a few weeks ago, and some of the counties have started releasing their over-the-counter liens. So those properties were previously auction properties, and now they're over-the-counter. Louisiana, we had 982 over-the-counter ads. Those are in various land banks and purchasing programs in the state. Tennessee added 667 over-the-counters. Those are also going to be land banks in the Shelby-Memphis land bank. Alabama, 582, similar story. These are going to be either added from the Department of Revenue or added in land banks. Florida, 122. Those are going to be over-the-counter liens or deeds, kind of a mixture there. Maryland had 94. Those are going to be over-the-counter liens as well as land bank. And Mississippi and Arkansas, 9 and 4. Not too many there, but those were tax deeds added over-the-counter. So 11,191 over-the-counters added. And then the big table are auctions that were added. Louisiana, 7,737. Those are technically tax deeds added. Arizona, 2,911. That's a variety. Some of that is because one of the auctions got moved, and so it closed and reopened. And when that update happened, we see those liens all over again in a brand new auction. Alabama, we've been adding auction properties for 3 months now, just since January, as soon as we were able to. But we have another 2,200 or so properties added for the auction season coming up. Florida added 943 auctions, or not auctions, tax liens for auction. And I'm sorry, these are tax deeds for auction. 943 tax deeds added for Florida auctions so far. New Jersey added 370 tax liens for auction. North Carolina, 247 deed foreclosures. Ohio, 224. These are sheriff's auctions, sheriff sales, but those are foreclosed tax deeds as well. Indiana, 101. Those would be tax liens going to auction. Virginia, 61 tax deeds for auction. New Mexico had 15 tax deeds added, and Tennessee only added 1 tax deed for auction. They've been kind of set with their auction schedule for a few weeks now, so not a lot of change there except for some redemptions. So we've been talking about the auction calendar updates since we did our planning video earlier this year. We're going to cover that calendar here in a second, but just a reminder, those auctions are changing and being added daily. The properties move in and out. We're tracking 1,238 upcoming auctions. There's a lot of auctions for you to look at, a lot of properties, and even as this video is going right now, properties are being added and removed, and auctions are being added. So it's a moving target. These things are changing hourly, not even daily. So looking at the tax auction calendar for 2024, we've been trying to add to this and keep it up to date as the season unfolds. Arizona is in the books for the tax lien auctions. We expect some more tax deed auctions to be announced, but they're not really apparent yet when they're going to be or what's in them. So next up, you'll see Indiana is in full swing. We're basically right in the middle of their commissioner sale season. We just did a video on that last week for you to look at. They also have foreclosures throughout the year. Maryland closed out their first auction, but have not announced or advertised lists for the next auction. So we're the season has started, but is sort of on pause until the next auctions come out. And Alabama is really warming up. We're just 8 days away from the first auction in Blount County. It'll be the first time in 7 years of tracking this that we've seen a March auction. They've always started in April, so this is new to see such an early auction in Alabama. But a lot of those lists are becoming available right now and in the coming weeks. Mississippi will be announced soon, as well as Arkansas. We expect to see some announcements soon. But for now, that's all the announced auctions and lists. But I would point out, we mentioned Indiana's foreclosure season right here throughout the whole year. Florida has tax deeds and foreclosures year-round. And then everything from this Colorado foreclosure line right here through New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio, Virginia, Louisiana, all of those have auctions throughout the year. So some of these markets are less seasonal. You might see more auctions one month than the next, but at least they have something every month, at least so far. So throughout the year, there's a lot of ways to be purchasing at auction. So let's talk about Arizona. They are in their over-the-counter season now, because the 2024 tax lien auction season is complete. And most of the counties have released their OTCs already. These are the leftover liens that did not sell. 8,731 have already been added in 2024 just in the last couple weeks. And almost 4,000 have already sold of those. So it was a feeding frenzy when those were released. I hope you were able to get in on those if that was something you were hoping to invest in. Side note here, we are putting the Arizona Scouting Services. They've been on hold for a few weeks now and will hopefully be available again next season, but we've taken the button off, so don't look for the Arizona Scouting until next year. So let's take a look at our map. This is Arizona with all the over-the-counter properties on the screen here. You see 36,081 in the bottom. I would quickly point out, though, some properties will have more than one lien on them. So there's a lot more tax liens than 36,000. There's just 36,000 parcels that have liens on them. So if we wanted to get more specific, I'm going to open up my search filters here, and I can play with the different counties and click on their label here, or their select here, and you'll notice I've selected over the counter as my inventory right here, which will show me how many properties are matching. So Coconino has 97 over the counter, Apache 6,500, and so you get the point. You can kind of click through and get an idea of which counties have released and how many over-the-counters there are. Let's do Cochise County, and I'll filter us down at least by one county so we can kind of take a closer look here. So I'll just click on the first one. Oops. There we go. So just for your orientation and mine too, Cochise County is pretty far south in the state. There's a lot of parcels here we're looking at, but it's right on the Mexico border and the New Mexico border. So it's right there. And I'm going to turn on satellite view so you can see the kind of bunches of green properties here. There's a lot of over-the-counter liens available. Most of them are going to be vacant land. Some of them have decent acreage like this, where you see 42 acres if you're looking for something a little higher value or a larger parcel chunk. And let's do a filter for that. If we want to see, let's see minimum of 10 acres, and that's going to take us down to 149 properties. So that's a great filter. Took out a massive chunk of what we were looking at. And now we can just look at on the right side here and find properties like that and take a look at them that way. So that's one way we can filter this down. Now I'm going to remove my acreage this time, and this time I'm going to say my total value needs to be at least $10,000. And that takes us down to 466 properties, which is a nice jump too, to get us a good bit lower in what we're looking at here. So this one says land and buildings, so does this one. So I'll just click find on map, and it will go locate the property for me. And you can see we're looking kind of helicopter view at these are houses with rooftops. That's basically what I'm getting at here. If you wanted to see that way, you can also do a search filter and narrow it down by improvements like this, and that will take us to 173. And remember, these are properties valued at least $10,000 and with improvements. And so that's another way we could narrow this down inside this one county and look at just properties that say they have some kind of improvements on them and that the valuation is at least $10,000. So that's how you would break into just different counties and pull them apart. I would recommend just uh, going through the valuations, going through the acreage, and just see what's available. So the same filters applied to Graham County, for instance. There's only 3 properties that meet that. So that would be a pretty quick research. I can just look at my sidebar. That's the 3 properties here. Only one of them is a 2024 tax lien in this top one. But we'll just click on this one. And let's click on the report for this one so we can actually see the house. We can, it looks very nice. It's $100,000 valuation. There's 1 tax lien available for $599. And if we wanted to buy that, there are instructions inside the purchase options right here on how to, or who to call, what to do, how to pay for this. That's going to walk you through the county specific steps for buying this over-the-counter tax lien. And if you wanted to see more about this property, in the right side under research links, you can view the GIS map, and we can view the parcel search. We could actually go to the treasurer site and see this little summary report for it. The GIS, if we agree to that, it's going to take us straight to the property there, which is kind of nice. It saves us some searching time. And let's see, here's the tax report. Just a wealth of links here that will help you learn more about this property so that you don't have to go find those yourself. You may go deeper than this. You might run further reports and other research with the county, but this really should get you started. These county links right here on the research link side. So that's how you would dig into one of these properties and pick it apart to decide what you want to do. Beyond that, it's really between you and the county to do the transaction, and we just help you with the instructions and how to get there. So that covers Arizona. Let's talk about Alabama. I know I mentioned we have OTC news at the front of this video, and you'll see why I moved this one up in a moment. But the exciting thing is that auction dates are released. A lot of these lists have been advertised. We already have 11 auctions you can research for this year. And the OTC news. Our Facebook group was up in arms this week. A lot of people got emails saying that the price quotes for the Alabama Department of Revenue are on hold for several hundred properties in Jefferson County. So some of our users actually called the county and found out that the legal descriptions for some of these properties are under review. And so the quotes for those properties in Jefferson County are on hold until further notice. And we did notice about 1,400, almost 1,500 properties removed pretty abruptly in the last few weeks in Jefferson, Birmingham alone. And I wasn't sure why that was. It would kind of be coincidental if this was not the same reason. I really think those properties they've already removed probably had legal description problems. I hope it's all of the ones that had problems. I hope there's not more. But we will be tracking that. And if you have price quotes on hold, this is, I guess at this point, there's not much we can do except wait for those or try to apply for other ones that are not on hold. So rest assured, you're in good company. A lot of our users are feeling the pain on this. So hang in there. And there are other ways to buy in Alabama. We've covered that in our many videos here. In fact, let's pull up the calendar specific to Alabama and talk about we do have the tax lien auctions coming up and the tax certificate auctions too. Remember, we are here. We are right on the cusp of auction season. So auctions are starting in 8 days. We have lists already. So that's, I guess you can count that as 2 ways to buy. The tax lien auctions or the tax certificate auctions. That's the old system or the new system. The counties, some of them still have over-the-counter liens that they will sell you. Those are on our website as well. The Alabama Department of Revenue certificates and deeds, those are the ones where in Jefferson you may get, some of those are on hold, but don't forget, there's like 67 other counties in the state. So you don't have to just shop in Jefferson, Birmingham for over-the-counters. You could shop in other counties. Don't forget also we have resellers. We have Parcel Fair Direct Offers, USA Deed, and Anderson Realty Group, all ways to buy year-round for Alabama. And then we have land banks, the most notable one being the Birmingham Land Bank. There's about 7,000 plus properties in there that you can shop for. So it's, don't think that the state is on hold by any means. It's just one county and just one type of property, and only, from what we've heard, a few hundred of those. There are still many ways to buy. So on that note, let's take a look at what we know so far about the Alabama tax lien season, tax lien auctions, really. So There are a lot more scheduled that are not on the calendar yet, but they don't have lists released yet, so we don't have them on here to junk up the space until they have lists. But the first auction you're going to see is Blount County coming up on March 19th. And then, strangely enough, on April 2nd, Tuesday, we have 4 counties, pretty notable counties. Think about Shelby and DeKalb, Tallapoosa. These are not trivial counties having auctions all on April 2nd. And then we have some coming out in May later on. These are a little bit further out there that we're tracking, sort of a preview list on those. So let's stick to the ones up top, these 5 that are coming up sooner. And if you wanted to take a look at properties available, you could click on this map, or if you want to see a list, you can do that. But let's map all the properties in Shelby County. This is going to include our over-the-counters. And the reason I did that, just to show you distinction here, these blue properties are the over-the-counter tax deeds. You'll see the blue outline on any of those. The ones with an orange or kind of yellowish outline, those are an active auction. They say active auction at the top, and that means they're coming up in the auction. If we go to our search filter, I can actually here click on just the lien auction that's coming up and narrow it down to just those 1,236 properties. And you'll see that there's still quite a few to look at even when we take the over-the-counters out. Using these markers here, I'm going to draw my county borders and turn off the satellite view and go to map. So now you can get a great outline of the county, and as you zoom in, you can see what's available. It's very close to Birmingham. It's just south of Birmingham. One thing that's great about Shelby County is there are areas that are more suburban that have, let's go back to satellite. You'll see the developments here, a lot of subdivisions and neighborhoods with nice value properties in them. And you could also look in the more rural areas of the county further south, and you have nice chunks of land like this, 30 acres, 13 acres, quite a variety of things to choose from if you're looking at the lien auctions here. There's even look, this one has a trailer park on 9 acres. So that's what I like about Shelby County. It's a nice mixture of both suburban, nicer areas. There's a couple colleges, a couple universities around here, and as well as those rural, larger chunks of land. So if you were going to bid on something, let's take a look at this giant block here. This is 60 acres, and well, how about this one? This one's 45 acres. It looks a little different, but we'll check it out. The reason I chose that one, I like that this shape of the parcel right here was kind of cool. A lot of times I think in my head, I imagine there's going to be a creek there when I see a shape like that, like a natural boundary. So maybe we can tell. So this is 45 acres in Alabaster, Alabama. It's kind of a suburban area. I might say it's probably up and coming, really, as far as a Birmingham suburb. And for this land, they are asking $1,957.94 in missing tax revenue is what they're trying to make up. So remember, this is going to be in the form of a tax lien, and that's the amount that will be bid on at the sale. Is you would show up online at the sale and have $1,957.94 to bid on this property. Instead of the bid up or premium bid auction where I would show up and bid $3,000 and you would say $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, instead of bidding up, this is a bid down interest auction, which means no matter what the final bid is, it's going to be $1,957.94. The variable is going to be what is the interest rate. And if I put in the first bid at 12%, which is the max, you might bid 11, somebody else bids 10 and 9 and 8 and so forth. Could go all the way down to 0. And ultimately, it's whoever will settle for the lowest interest rate. And since this is an online auction, you'll notice here upcoming, if you click on this purchase option, this is at GovEase, which is an excellent platform. There's videos that show you how to bid, and you can bid in advance with maximum budgets, maximum bids, and things like that. So you can preset all this in advance and then let the auction play out. And it's a lot of people prefer it to in-person auctions, except for the fact that you might have a little more competition since it's online, but it's a lot less stress, and you can kind of take your time and set your bidding in advance. And like I said, some people will bid these properties down to 0%. So that's a thing. You just have to decide what is your lowest interest rate you would accept and set your bid that way. So, I mean, that's a good top to bottom of how these auctions are going to be working, the tax lien auctions. This is, again, a good opportunity in these counties on April 2nd. These are all, you're not talking about thousands and thousands of properties, but they're decent size auctions. Some of the bigger auctions are coming later. We'll have plenty of updates on that as the season unfolds. But that's enough to get you started on the Alabama spring tax auction season here. So Indiana, this is the video we just finished. The commissioner sales are in full flight. It's also known as spring tax lien auctions. There's 25 auctions so far in 2024. 10 of those in March and 10 more in April. 5 were already completed. The Lake County list has been available for a while now. It still has over 8,200 tax liens available even after some redemptions. And that auction is not until April 8th, so there's still plenty of time to research Lake County. I really would recommend watching our video that came out last week. It's still very fresh, and we'll take you through how these sales work, the interest rates, the redemptions, all those things, and what does this all mean. So check that out on our YouTube channel here. And a side note, we do have some upcoming foreclosure auctions, 52 scheduled for March and 44 more coming up in April. We'll just peek at the calendar for Indiana, and remember, since there are foreclosures and tax auctions, you want to filter. If you want to see just those spring commissioner sales, click on tax auctions here. That gets rid of the foreclosures. And so now you can see these were the first 1, 2, 3, 4 auctions completed, and then here's the ones remaining for the month. Some of these are very small, 31, 21 properties, 5 properties. And then you get into some larger with 600 properties. And moving into April, you'll see there's the Lake County sale coming up with 8,207 properties. So it's quite a variety. Remember, these are leftovers from previous auctions, and so not every county participates. That's why you only see 25 of these. But if you wanted to jump into one of these, again, I recommend you watch our deep dive video. But let's just go check out. Let's stop picking on Lake County. We always use Lake County. Let's go look at Madison County and just map the properties for this auction. So Madison County looks like it's northeast of Indianapolis, and again, this is just the auction properties thrown onto the map for you. You can take the helicopter view and just look at it this way, or you can use our filters and filter to just improvements. That really takes a chunk down to 81, and you can even set your minimum value to, let's put it at 20,000. That takes us down to 30 properties, a $20,000 minimum valuation. And let's go just look at the right side here, and let's find this one on the map and see what it looks like. So this one looks like it's the improvements are a bit suspect, and the valuation, don't really like that one. Let's check this one. Oh wow, that one definitely got bulldozed recently. So that's one we can pass on or save ourselves the time. Let's check this one out. It looks interesting. It's like it's probably commercial, $54,000. It is vacant according to the Postal Service. This is good to know. From the outline on the lot, there's a alleyway behind it or some kind of open space, probably some parking behind it, is what if I had to guess. And ultimately, what you're looking at here is just kind of whether you want to proceed with this property and think about it or not. The purchase option right here takes you to the information you need to register for the tax sale. This tax sale is in person, so that's I'd say probably 2/3 of the Indiana ones seem to be in person. In the commissioner sales, it may be a smaller percentage, but this is going to be in person if you wanted to bid on this property. So again, if this has piqued your interest and you want to know more about these commissioner sales, I have a exhaustive, in-depth video that we made just a few days ago. So go check that out on our channel, and that'll give you a lot more to go on for Indiana. So hopefully that was helpful. On that note, let's check out Virginia's tax deed auction season, which appears to go all year. So taking out the auctions that have already passed and looking at what's coming up, you see a nice lineup here of 6 auctions. I don't know why, but there's 3 in March, 4 in March, and 2 in May. Don't know why April was skipped, but it would be in here if they do announce some April auctions. We will certainly add those. This is one of our newer states, but it's come together pretty nicely. We also have photo and video scouting services available in Virginia on the website. I'll show you that in a second. And we do have a video that covers Virginia tax deed auctions in more detail. So here is Virginia's auction calendar. You can see those upcoming auctions, 21/5/2016. There's not a ton of parcels in these, but it's enough to look at. Let's check out Washington, because I just added that in the last few days. So 17 parcels, and looking on the right-hand side, we can kind of see some interesting, let's I guess click on this one, it's good valuation. And zooming in, it's just at the end of this street. This, I believe, is this property out of those 3 parcels. So almost 3 altogether there that you could be looking at. Let's just keep scanning through here. This one's on like a mountain ridge. That's a nice looking area. 37 acres, valued at $120,000. So let's just click on this property. I don't think we'll have a Google Street View because the Google card, yeah, they typically don't drive into the mountainous rural areas like that. But we can see it's about 37 acres there, $120,000 is the value. One of the problems in Virginia is we rarely see an opening bid. So that's a frustrating thing for people. We're still not sure why that is. But if you wanted to use those scouting services because Google Street View didn't go there, you'll notice the blue Order Photos and Videos button. And you can fill out that form and get in touch with our scout who will go check it out for you. Next, lastly, I guess you'd say the upcoming auction here, that big green button I just clicked, shows you when and where the auction is. And remember, we don't have the opening bid. It's not posted, so we don't know the taxes due. But these links will take you to the website to read about it. So here's the actual posting for Washington County and all the properties that we just showed you. So that's a good top to bottom for going through one county, down to one parcel, down to one auction. And if you want to see more about Virginia, please check out our other video on this channel. It's got a lot more details for you. So let's talk about Ohio and the sheriff sales that are available throughout the year. These tax deed foreclosure auctions is another way of saying it. We have 64 auctions in March and 25 already showing up in April. And we still have some land banks coming soon. And you can check out our sheriff auction intro video on our channel if you want to go into real detail here. I'll just show you the highlights on the auction calendar. If we click on Ohio, you can see the 64 in March, the 25 coming up later, and then 5 more in May. Oh, actually we have June already on the schedule. So I'm not going to do much more on Ohio in this video. If you want to, let's just map this county's 68 parcels across several auctions. We do have a video that goes through this in detail, but in general, I would say there's a good supply of properties here, but I would note that since these are pretty mature in the foreclosure process, the opening bids are going to be a little higher than what you're used to in some other states. So this amount due is $93,000 as the opening bid, whereas the value is $104,000. 2 possibilities. One possibility is obviously they may owe that much in taxes, plus the legal fees to foreclose might have put the bid that high. A more likely reason for this property is because they mix in Ohio, they mix in some mortgage and lender foreclosures as well. So there's a great chance that that property is going to be from a different type of foreclosure, but they put them all in the same auction. I'm going to view these results over here and find a good example of, let's see, let's sort by the total value this way. And so I'm looking at this number and this number to see the amount due is in this column and the total value here. So here's a good example. This property valued at $255,000, opening bid is going to be $45,604. That's a little better discount than what we saw a minute ago where it was 90% valuation for the opening bid. This one's obviously going to be a project. It's got ivy and all kinds of stuff growing all over it. But at a discount, this is not terrible. It goes to auction, the price will bid up, of course. But the opening bid leaves room for some bidding to go on without getting too close to that value. Who knows how it'll play out. It could bid up to $300,000 if it's a very desirable property. I have no idea. but we do know that the opening bid leaves it a little more room to play. We're going to talk about Louisiana. I'm going to cut this one a little bit short because we're just getting started here. We're tracking auctions that were covered by CivicSource. A lot of those are going to be pending auction and not really in a current auction. But you can start that auction as an investor by placing a deposit on the property. We'll show you that in a minute. I can't stress enough, read and understand the auction rules, because Louisiana is unique, to say the least. It does not behave like any state we've seen yet. We've seen debate over whether it's a lien or a deed state even. But since the state statute says the word deed in it, we've been calling it a deed state, even though it acts like a lien in a lot of ways. There are also over-the-counter properties from the New Orleans Redevelopment Authority, and we have coming soon more land banks and more auctions. But let's take a peek at it. I will do another video for this once we know more about Louisiana and have a little more better grip on this. But for now, you can see you don't see a ton of auctions on the calendar, but there are actually a lot of properties available. So if the property has had a deposit and is scheduled to go to auction, you'll see it on the calendar. But if we go to the map, we can actually look at all of these counties, and let's clear our filters out. See that there's every one of these counties has properties that are just waiting for that first bid. And like East Baton Rouge, 848 properties. Let's start there. And since these are not scheduled for auction yet, we show them in blue as a tax deed until they've been scheduled. Let's click the details, and I just want to show you how to kick off the bid. If you like this property and want to buy it, the amount due is $6,010. The valuation is only $1,500, if that's even right. The Louisiana data is a bit sketchy at this point. We're still working through it, but it's awaiting its first bid, and you just click this big fat green button. It takes you straight to the auction site and shows you that the starting bid is $6,010, but for an $850 deposit, this auction will start. And there's a lot of great detail here. CivicSource does a really good job giving you more information. Again, we're going to cover this in more depth in another video, but so far it's interesting to look at these properties and learn about it. One last thing, I did mention the New Orleans redevelopment land bank. So let's go to Orleans County. You see 1,181 properties there. Let's just view those. So right now you're looking at a mixture of both pending auction that have not been scheduled, as well as land bank that are in that redevelopment program. So looking around there, this is probably the area of New Orleans, with the French Quarter, some of the downtown area. Not a lot of properties there, but you don't have to go far. Let's jump over to the map before you start to see some of these pop up. And you can see in this area right here, for instance, there's this is a New Orleans redevelopment property. And so again, this is technically a land bank. They don't have an amount due, but they do have a process where you would fill out a form to go figure out what to bid, and that's actually right here where it says express interest in this property. Now you would fill out the form that they have if it loads. And I apologize, this New Orleans website, whoever wrote it, it's very buggy. It is very tough to use. We're trying to find ways to maybe make it a little easier, but it's not much to work with here. But if you wanted to look at some of, actually, I'm trying to find, it's actually easier to find it from Parcel Fair. Let's just go back. You would fill out the express interest form on the property that way. Let me go back. I'm already lost. Let's try it here. Okay, this took us to the right form this time. So this is the form you would fill out to express interest in the property. And again, we're new to this state, so if you have experience in Louisiana, we'd love to chat with you. Let's zip through North Carolina here. We have new counties and auctions added. About 255 have been tracked so far this year. 147 of those in March, so we're really ramping up the pace. And 53 scheduled so far in April. We do have a video recently about an intro to North Carolina tax deed auctions. You should totally check that out if you want to learn in depth about the pending auctions, the scheduled auctions, the upset bidding process, and all those moving parts that are unique to North Carolina. Let's take a glimpse at the auction calendar. A lot of auctions have already passed this month, and here are the upcoming auctions just beyond that. So quite a few coming up to choose from. And let's I'm just going to view one auction, one property, and just take a flyer, see what it is. I don't even know. Find it on the map. This is in Cherokee County, 7.5 acres. I don't think the Google car drove to this. I have a bad feeling it did not. The Google car doesn't like dirt roads and mountains. But still might be a very good property. You'll see it's in the upset bid category. So the tax information, you would still actually bid on it through the courthouse in person even. But you have the date of 3/14 would be your deadline. So that's, again, a lot more information in our North Carolina video, a lot of ins and outs about how these work. But in the meantime, you can shop around and click on counties and just check out, oh, I found a waterfront property without much effort there. That's kind of nice. Of course, the Google car didn't drive to this one either. So, but yeah, that's just a sample of North Carolina for you. And it's an exciting state. We have a lot of county coverage there. Actually, let's you can see quite a few counties with properties to offer at this point. Moving on to New Jersey. We'll call it the spring auction season, but really it's just the auction season that goes for the whole year. It doesn't ever seem to stop. So there we are. They have 5 coming up, 3 or 4 in March, 1 in April. And we do have a New Jersey auction video with a lot more information. We're not going to go into the full detail in this video, but would definitely check that out. Here's New Jersey on the auction calendar. You have auctions as small as 14 properties or as big as 5,400. So check those out if you wanted to see this particular township's properties. That's how you would do it. And now you're just looking through them from the aerial view and doing your research that way. So not a lot new to discuss in New Jersey. Just steady flow of auctions, steady flow of properties coming through. So check those out and let us know what you think. New Mexico, we actually have 4 auctions coming up, and we have a video for that too. Let's show you on the calendar. Santa Fe, Colfax, Union, and Harding are the 4 auctions coming up. Colfax is the largest. Other ones are kind of small. And if you wanted to view those properties on a map, you just click this button. If you want to go list, you go here. Let's view this one on a list. We've been doing a lot of map today. So looking at this, I can quickly eyeball these properties, go through their valuations, sort the table by clicking this top total value. So now I've seen the most valuable properties in the auction at the very top. So you see $393,000, $142,000. And that's a quick way to zero in on the properties with value. Moving down the list, you could go for some of the other ones too. Just totally up to your strategy. But this table helps you sift through that pretty quickly. And of course, you can click on a report like that and get a good view of what's going on here. The instructions to sign up and register for the auction are going to be under that purchase option right here. This is going to be in person, and the taxes due are $4,400 even. All right, moving on to Tennessee, the all-year auction season that keeps going. 10% interest penalty on these 1-year redemption tax deeds. We just, in very quick order in March, had 4 auctions get knocked out, which leaves only 4 left on the calendar. And technically, one of those isn't even on the calendar yet. Knox County is pending their date announcement. We still are waiting to hear officially. Someone told us at the county that it's at least May, so we'll try to keep that up to date. And other than that, we have some over-the-counter news. The land bank, they just added 600 properties. I put the wrong number here, unfortunately, but the land bank in Tennessee is just for Shelby County, and it's strictly, it's actually covers the whole county, not just Memphis, thankfully. But right now we have a combination of auction properties and land bank. That's why you see yellow properties here. I'm trying to find a good, yeah, there we go. So a yellow property is going to be in the auction. A blue property is going to be over the counter. We can filter that right here if we want to say over the counter only. And we're looking at 3,000 over the counter properties, the most I've ever seen in this inventory. If we wanted to filter that to less, let's go for improvements, and that takes 90% of the properties out to 339. And so now we're really down to just the houses, if that's your strategy. We can just keep moving on those. We'll just click this one. And so you have a brick house here. It looks like it's missing a door. It's vacant, according to the Postal Service. And you would apply online following these instructions to purchase this house in Memphis. Let's move on to Florida. We're still waiting on that May, June advertised list to show up. The dates are showing up, but no lists yet. So right now we are doing tax deed auctions all year long. 53 scheduled in March, 40 more coming up in April. Foreclosures is a very healthy stream of auctions, about 300 a month coming through. So 297 scheduled in March and more coming up in April. And also Florida, there's just so many ways to buy. There's over-the-counter tax liens and over-the-counter tax deeds, tens of thousands of tax liens available over the counter, only a few hundred over-the-counter tax deeds. Those are a little more rare. And we're just going to take a peek at the auction calendar and move on. Florida, another state that has so many different types of auctions that you want to filter, either foreclosures, you could do deed and lien, just deed, or just lien. We'll do just deed today and see what that gives us. So that takes us down to just the 53 auctions in March, 40 more coming in April, and let's knock into the Putnam tax deed auction. Let's just pick that one and view those 207 properties, and there you have it. So we're looking at these auction properties coming up. It's a pretty big tax deed auction by Florida normals, and if you like a property that you see, you could just either filter or click it here in the right side. Oh, that's interesting, on the lake. And then hit the full details to see a report. This one actually has a Google car, so let's check out the panorama view. I found out that some addresses can blur if they request Google to blur out the direct photos of the property, so can't see much with this one. But if you wanted to buy, you would click on this upcoming auction button and follow these links to go register or buy. Okay, we're getting into some of the more dormant markets now. Colorado is off season. We do have over-the-counters, a few hundred or a few thousand, I think, available on the site now. Foreclosure auctions, there's 15 of those auctions in March, 13 more in April so far, probably more coming. And we do have a Colorado off-season investing video because their tax lien auction season is so short, and it's actually way off in September, October, but when you'll be looking at that. So the off-season investing can be helpful. If you want to check out that video on this channel, it'll help you through what to buy while you're waiting on those tax lien auctions. Maryland, we had a false start. The first auction came out. It completed March 1st, and we don't have anything scheduled after that. But we do have photo and video scouting services available in Maryland in case you want to look at some of those over-the-counter properties. Several counties have over-the-counters, but Baltimore City is always the popular one because there are 3 different inventories. There's the previous year over-the-counter liens, there's the 2-year-old leftovers, and then there's the Buy into Baltimore, which is more like a land bank, which right now has 3,079 properties available. 246 new OTCs added already this year just in that one county. And so, yeah, we've got a lot going on in the over-the-counter area there, but there's other videos on this channel to go deep into that and learn a lot about Maryland. So I encourage you to check those out if you want to know more about investing in Maryland. Mississippi is over-the-counter season, but we have spring auctions coming around the corner in April. The schedule's released. The property lists are not available yet. So in the meantime, you should be shopping for over-the-counters there. About 7,400 available. You can buy those year-round from the state. We haven't had many added this month, only 9. So you see a steady trickle of properties into that inventory throughout the year. Let's take a look at the Mississippi auction calendar. All of these say no parcels available because they've not been announced yet. But the date has been announced as April 1st, and so we're expecting very soon to see these property lists show up. And we'll have them on Parcel Fair as soon as they're available. So the Arkansas 2024 is on the way. We are checking daily on the Commissioner of State Lands website. And in the meantime, you can check out new over-the-counter deeds. 1,600 added at the end of last year. It's been a little slow ever since. But these are year-round purchases available through the Commissioner of State Lands on Parcel Fair. We just take you straight to their site to bid. I'll show you what I mean. If we go to Arkansas, and let's pick Baxter County, which I don't know much about, but we'll find this one on the map. View the details. This green button, Commissioner of State Lands, will take you to instructions on how to place your bid. And when you hit this continue button, it will take you to the page where you would actually place that bid here in the top right corner. So you'll notice someone's already initiated this auction. There are 5 days and 1 hour left at it. The next bid needs to be at least $5 more than the current bid. So that's how you would place your bid. Arkansas makes it nice and simple. We love working with them. So Nevada, we had some tax deed auctions. These were really kind of leftover, and they've already passed. So kind of like Maryland, we started and stopped. But we do have more coming up in this season, so stay tuned. South Carolina is kind of dead right now. It is way out of season, and the over-the-counters will be coming soon. You can always watch our auction video in the meantime if you want to see what's coming up for that later in the year. And we'll round this out with Oklahoma and Utah, very much over-the-counter off-season. We're getting close, a couple months away from the first announcements coming out around May. And you can get some over-the-counters right now in Parcel Fair, not much, really just a few hundred. And we have some suggestions to add soon, so stay tuned. And thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful. If you want to reach out and chat with us, we've got the YouTube comments page. You can hit our contact form on the website. We love to get discussions going, and happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks a lot.